Now, today we'll begin a three-part episode where an affair has rocked two families at the same time. Now, Brad says he's torn between his wife, Michele, and another woman who's calling herself Sarah to protect her identity. But it gets even more complicated because Brad's mistress used to be his wife's best friend. And to add to the drama, both women became pregnant by him at the same time. Here's their story.
We've been married almost 14 years. We have 3 children. My husband had an affair with my best friend.
The other woman and I were intimate 3 or 4 times a week.
I found out about Brad's affair while vacationing with this other couple.
Several days after the affair came out, I had told Michele that I was in love with my girlfriend.
At first, I was in complete shock. I felt so betrayed by both of them.
I had told my wife that I wanted to be with the other woman.
I did ask him, how could he do this to me? How could he do this to our kids? And his response was that he loved her and that he wanted to be with her, but he was torn because he loved me and wanted to be with me too. I was promised that it was gonna stop.
I do feel like I'm torn between 2 women. I don't think Michele understands that I'm in love with my girlfriend.
I knew that Brad and her were still having an affair.
I would meet her during the day on our lunch hour.
I would catch him in lies. I ended up pregnant, and I thought at that time, something has to happen.
The other woman found out she was pregnant a month after my wife discovered that she was pregnant. I feel overwhelmed when I think about having 2 babies.
These affairs have piled on me. Now this other child is piled on me, and I feel like I'm just sinking in the mud. I've been told that he did finally break the affair in December. Now I don't know if it's true or not. Do you not see my life as being lived as a lie?
The other woman, she just mesmerizes me. She makes me happy.
I start thinking, what could I have done differently? Am I not pretty enough? Am I not smart enough? It makes me feel horrible.
I do love both of them.
I'm crushed, I'm hurt over the fact that he's torn. Here he has a wife and a family and a home. She's got a husband and a family and a home of her own.
I want to save my family, but I'm afraid of losing the other woman. I feel like I don't have the strength to tell either of them to leave me alone. I don't know what to do. I'm torn of who I want to spend the rest of my life with, whether it's my wife or my girlfriend.
Okay, now, Brad, you wrote the letter, right?
Correct.
What is it you hope is going to happen here today?
You know, what I want is for this to be rectified one way or the other.
How are you feeling right now, Michele?
Horrible.
Tell me.
I am very angry. I am very upset. I'm very scared.
But you're not new to this.
No.
In fact, you found a list in his car, which I thought was interesting that you would leave that in your car for her to find, listing 40 women that he's been involved with, 19 of whom he admits have been since he married you.
Yes.
Certainly, there has been a pattern of egregious infidelity in this across a period of 14 years, beginning with the first year you were married, correct? It seems to me that you two have conspired to negotiate a very sick relationship between the two of you. It's not healthy for you and it's not healthy for you. Would you agree?
Yes.
And then we have to sprinkle in the children.
Yes.
Because they're aware of all of this too, correct?
Yes.
Because you've fought about it in front of them, they've heard you talk about it, they know that you have a girlfriend now and that you're probably the father of her child.
Correct.
And in fact, you are the father of her child. Yeah. You know at an intellectual level that what you're doing is wrong for your marriage, it's wrong for your children, it's unhealthy for you, it's unhealthy for the other woman who's also married.
Right.
Is it just a hedonistic thing? It's just you seek pleasure and avoid pain at every turn?
The list of the women from, the affair from the first year, I think that's what it was. But everything's changed in the last 2 years with this is completely different.
For the purposes of this broadcast, for reasons that are beyond my comprehension, she wants to not be called by her actual name and be referred to as Sarah. Okay. And her sister, who is here, just kind of, I guess, as moral support, wants to be referred to as Lisa. And maybe she can tell us why. I mean, it didn't seem that she was particularly caught up in discretion before now, but, well, I mean, seriously, I think you guys are pretty much out there. So, but now, this affair with her is still going on, right?
Yes, it is.
You were with her last night, correct?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
I need to go back. Her and I had a conversation out on the street. We sat on the steps and we talked for a little while. It's not what I'm sure everyone thinks that is. We were back in a hotel room.
Well, I didn't say you had sex with her last night. I said you were with her
yes,
last
I was.
night. Okay, and were you aware of that?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
And because you had told her recently that this was over.
Right.
Okay, but you didn't have sex with her last night, according to you. I don't know whether you did or you didn't, but you did have sex with her 9 days ago.
Right.
Okay, so you know this is very recent now, correct? Yes. You're hearing that now, so you know. All right, now, we're going to take a break, and next, the other woman, the girlfriend, the mistress, whatever language you want to use, is going to join us here on stage. She wants Brad to choose her over his wife. Now, she and Sarah, Michele and Sarah, have not spoken since they both gave birth to his children 24 days apart, which has been, what, 5 months?
6 months.
6 months ago.
I am no longer friends with this woman that used to be my best friend. I haven't spoke to in about 5 months. She's done so much damage to my marriage that I'm in shell shock. I feel betrayed by her. There's just so much resentment towards her that I feel like lashing out at her.
Well, 2 marriages are at stake today. We're talking to Brad and Michele. He says he's torn between loving 2 women, his wife and her former best friend, who is also married. Now, the other woman, the girlfriend, is here today. Now, she and Michele haven't spoken in 6 months. But first, I want you to hear her side of the story before she joins us on stage.
I was friends with Michele when I fell in love with her husband. The affair started online, just kind of some fun little flirting. We did finally go out to a club one night as couples, and he whispered in my ear, "I think you're gorgeous." My husband and I live about 2 blocks from Brad and Michele. My oldest son and his middle son played baseball and football together. I helped Brad throw Michele her 30th birthday party, and it was while we were hot and heavy. I've never felt like the other woman because Brad loves me. For some reason in my mind, the fact that I love him and he loves me makes it okay. Not so cheap. Brad and I always joke that I'm his girlfriend. When the affair actually came out, Michele was yelling, screaming. My husband, I could see the pain in his face. It was hard. Brad told me, he said, "I'm leaving. You can come with me or you can stay." That was a real pivotal moment when I decided to leave with him. When Michele found out that she was pregnant, and Brad told me, it was probably the closest I've ever come to a nervous breakdown. I lost it. Then, lo and behold, I found out I was pregnant. The relationship with Brad continued throughout my pregnancy. Brad and I have still been intimate. We have been trying to decide what we're gonna do. Brad makes me very happy. I want more than anything for my family to be okay, but I can't seem to ever live without him in my life. I love the way he talks to me. I love the things he says to me. I love the way he tells me his feelings and his thoughts. He makes me feel good about myself. I know Brad's had many affairs. He has told me that I am the only one he's considered leaving Michele for. It's confusing to me that he's so torn because he was just so willing before to give his life up with her and be with me.
Okay, difficult to watch. What is your reaction to that?
I am so angry and so hurt. And it's just hard to hear those things come out of her mouth because he tells me the same things. You know, he tells me he loves me every day. We are intimate 3 to 4 times a week, and I just don't understand why she's so torn.
Well, you're going to have a chance to ask her, because we're going to talk about that, because I'm going to have her join us here. Now, we're not going to have some big cat fight up here Everybody just stay seated, and we're just going to deal with this. Maturity may be a new element to this relationship, but we're going to embrace some today. But that doesn't mean you can't say what you want to say.
Sure.
Okay? So can we have the next guest, please? Good to see you. Have a seat. You understand that the audience can see you and we're shooting this, but for some reason you want to be shot from behind.
Yes.
And go by the name of Sarah.
Yes.
Tell me why that's important to you.
It's important to me because of my children, my husband, and my job.
Okay, and you think they don't know what's going on?
Not to the full extent.
You think your husband doesn't know?
He knows.
He knows you're here.
But he has asked me
He
not.
knows you're involved. He knows you're having an affair. He's talked with you on numerous occasions. And the reason I'm asking you is because the first step towards getting anything resolved here is everybody stepping up and being accountable. If you're big enough to do it, be big enough to own it. You know, I mean, I think that's true with everybody. So you're having an affair with Michele's husband.
Yes.
First question, what gives you the right to lay with another woman's husband, to be intimate with him? What gives you the right to inject yourself into their relationship? And I'm going to ask you the same question in a minute, but you just got here, so I'm asking you first.
Nothing gives me the right. I am ashamed. I'm not proud of it at all. It happens so quickly, and I couldn't stop it.
You say that you talk to him like 3 times a day, have sex 2 or 3 times a week.
That was an average of how things have been in the past. It certainly hasn't been that way recently.
You said that Brad says he still loves you and that only you can make him happy. Does he tell you that?
Yes.
Does he tell you that? Does he tell you that he's in love with you and that
Sure.
he wants to be there with you?
Sure. Yes, he does.
That's not that cut and dry, Dr. Phil. It's not. It's really not. So this is not just I'm telling everybody every time I'm on the phone with anybody I talk to that I love them, and that's not the case at all.
You say you're coming on the show because you want Brad to choose you and leave Michele and get this done.
No, it's not that cut and dry either. It's not.
Well, you know what? I've got in quotes that you wish she would leave so I could have him. I want Brad for myself. I'm in love with him, and I'm not going to go away. And he's cheated on her so many times that I worry that he might cheat with me as well.
There are times that I do wish that, she would be done and we could see where it could go for us. But I am very torn, too. I'll feel that way one day, and the next day, I don't feel that way.
In fact, you've wanted to leave a number of times, and then you backed out and said, no, I won't leave. I'm going to stay with my husband and my children. And so you said, well, why should I give up my family if she's not going to leave hers, correct? Right. So you've been reluctant a number of times. You've been in and out a number of times. And you're just sitting there. What did you want to say to her? She's here?
You are unbelievable, just unbelievable.
I mean, why? I mean, why do you say that?
The fact that you honestly think, number one, that he's going to leave me. He hasn't left me in 2 years. I mean, you've been with him for 2 years. You haven't seen him walk out the door, have you?
He's been gone a few times.
Well, he always comes back.
Because I haven't left.
Oh, whatever.
Do
you have a husband. You have a family.
I know. That's why I'm still home.
I think I'm torn between the two of them, because my wife represents my family and we've been together so long. The other woman is something different. Her and I respond to each other. We have an electricity and she makes me happy.
We've been talking about a story of infidelity that could potentially rip two marriages apart. Now, Brad wrote to me because he says he's torn between his wife and his mistress, who is also married. And to make matters even more complicated, both women became pregnant by him at the same time and delivered within 24 days of one another, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now, let me ask you something. What are you doing getting pregnant with him when you know what's going on?
It was honestly an oops. I mean, we did not, it was an unplanned pregnancy.
There are a lot of things that you can do to just keep that from like, whoops.
I agree.
Tell me what your thoughts were in getting pregnant.
Total
Did
shock.
you do it on purpose?
Oh, totally not, no. No, why would I do that? Why would I bring an innocent child into this already mess?
I don't know, but I know that you seem to me to be an intelligent adult that would be aware of the dangers. Were you having unprotected sex?
I thought we were being careful, but obviously we weren't.
Thought you were being careful. Okay. Do you want to be with him?
Yes, I do.
So you say that you have raw feelings for him that are very strong and you want to be with him. So why haven't you left to be with him?
Because of my children. And my husband. My husband is he's a wonderful man. And I keep trying every day I hope I'll wake up and my feelings for Brad will lessen and I'll be able to put it back together with my husband.
Do you want to stay with him?
I'm not so sure I do anymore.
You need to take an honest look at yourself, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you agree that you just have no apparent self-control?
I do. I really do.
Do you agree that you apparently have no boundaries? No boundaries to your relationship with either person?
I agree with that. In my opinion, we are here because I don't want to hurt either woman, and I love both of them, and all it's doing is dragging everyone through the mud.
I think one thing you have in common is an interest in Brad, and just going over your resume here, if you were applying to be a husband, a boyfriend, and a lover, see, we've had 40 affairs, 19 during the marriage, so many that they have often overlapped.
I had a brief, it wasn't even an affair, it was a sexual encounter after we got married, and then several years went by. Then it began to snowball where, Michele and I have had a lot of problems open with each other for 8 or 9 years.
It started to snowball.
Right.
I mean, I hate it when that happens. What do you mean it started to snowball? Aren't you it?
Absolutely.
So what you mean is you started to make one choice after another
Right.
to have a sexual encounter or an affair or whatever semantics you want to dial into it. And I guess, are you number 40? No, I'm serious. Are you number 40 or have there been some after you?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Are you cheating on her
No.
besides with your wife?
No, that's what people don't understand.
So you are number 40 then. Is that true? On your list, if you go down 139, then at 40 would be her name.
Well, those aren't all affairs. They're not. They're not. I mean, they were.
Well, it's
were
your
people,
list.
They were people.
So would she be?
I understand, but what
Would she be
what
20
you haven't
then?
portrayed?
Or 19? Because you said there were 19 that you considered affairs. Would she be 19, or have there been
I
others
guess for all
after?
intents and purposes, that's correct.
If you think what you're doing is okay, and it's just something that is just the way you truly feel, why have you lied to Michele about it?
We've really tried to make an effort to break this thing off, and You know, obviously the answer to your question is to try to protect my family. But I don't think it's right by any stretch of the imagination. I am overloaded with guilt, and I couldn't hardly stand to look her or her husband in the eye, and the guilt is just overwhelming. People have no idea what it can do to you.
I can't understand why my sister is torn between Brad and her husband. There's just no comparison. Her husband is a good provider, a good father. Brad is a manipulator, a user. I don't know if my sister has the strength to walk away from Brad.
Well, that was the sister of the other woman, or the girlfriend, as she likes to be called instead. You're her sister.
Correct.
What do you think about what she's doing here?
I think it's totally ridiculous. I'm not proud of, what she's done. I don't condone her for what she's done, but I also think that he's the predator, the manipulator, the person that started it all.
So you don't have a very high opinion of
Not
Brad.
whatsoever, no. Dr. Phil, her marriage was fine. We're sisters, we're pretty close. I'm out here with her. Never has she ever said to me that there was any problems in her marriage. Never. My friends even thought if you had a definition of a perfect marriage, it was my sister and her husband. And then he, being the person that he is, pounced on, saw maybe a weakness or whatever, and started telling her what obviously she needed to hear at the time. And he knew what to say, and because he's good at it. Like, the list shows, he's had a lot of experience, a lot of practice. And he's told her what he wants to hear. And, he's obviously telling Michele what she needs to hear, because they're
Michele,
both buying into it.
So what did you want to say to her? You now know that they are still involved. They were together last night. They admit to having sex as recently as 9 days ago. And she says she fully intends to take your husband, that she does love him, she does want to be with him, and she's here to achieve that today. What do you have to say?
I'm to the point now where, you know what, you can have him. I'll bring his dirty laundry over. You take it. You take it. You take care of him. You take care of him, Leave your husband, leave your kids, leave your house. You want to move into mine? You go right ahead. You have it all. Take it. It won't be very fun. It won't be fun at all. You know that.
Yeah, because he's done it before. He's going to do it again.
Well, he just told me. He told me just the other day that he was having, still battling with temptations. He originally thought that he wouldn't have any temptations if he was with her, that all of that would go away, because she was the perfect one for him. Well, he just admitted the other day that that wasn't the case, and that he was just fooling himself into believing that she was the perfect one and he wouldn't do it again.
You're saying in our interviews with you that you are here because you don't want to lose your husband to this person. You may be changing your mind as you're getting more information. I understand that. And you're saying that you're here because you want him to choose you instead of her. And I'm just wondering, why is it his choice? Why do you have such low self-esteem, such low self-worth, that you've got to be there saying, pick me, instead of don't let the door hit you in the ass, buddy? And you know that. You know your own resume. You've got to know you are a high-risk, damaged goods sexual addict. You have to know that. So it's kind of like the old saying, I wouldn't join any club that would have me as a member. Knowing your history as she does, wouldn't you wonder what's wrong with her if she would say, you bet, I'll leave my husband, who I say is a nice guy, bust up my family with children that I love, to go be with somebody that I can't trust as far as I can throw him? Wouldn't you be concerned about why in the world she would do that?
I think that's why she hasn't. It certainly appears that I'm in control and I'm making the decisions here, but I think we have 4 people here that are afraid to make a decision. I think all 4 of us involved in this situation have just been waiting for someone else to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Really? And let's be selfish on your behalf for a minute, okay? Depending on whose list we use and how we categorize the individuals involved, you're either number 19 or 40, right? Does that not really cause you concern to say, I am being used here, I am a way station?
It concerns me, but I believe I'm different. I believe that he loves me. He didn't love the other ones. He didn't fall in love. That's why that's why we're in the predicament that we're in, because we fell in love.
Dr. Phil, she's not number 40. There's been 41 and 42. He had a picture on his cell phone of another woman since he's been with her. And I think he's made contact with another woman since then also.
If that's true, why would you lie about that? Because the only way I can ever get my arms around this, the only way I can ever respect any boundaries, the only way I can ever claim any control is to start saying, no more lies. Then you say there's a cell phone picture. I mean, I don't know what you're doing looking at his cell phone.
Oh, no, that's just what I heard. This is what she told me.
That's what you told me.
Yes.
So you have concerns that you may not be the last one?
It came out. Michele actually saw the picture.
I don't know what number she was, but it was a picture of one of the others that she had sent to him. It was a picture of her in a bikini on a beach that she had sent to him.
So a woman takes a picture of herself in a bikini and sends it to you?
She went to Florida and sent me a picture. But that doesn't mean that I've had sex with her since I've been with her.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's ridiculous.
I'm not saying that you have. But I'm just saying she's on the radar screen. I mean, right?
And known that I've talked to her.
Does that make it
I've been
right?
honest about that, and she knows that I've talked to her.
Because I'm 54 years old. I've never had a woman send me a picture of herself in a bikini yet.
It's really heart-wrenching that they have a child together. I had already been hit with the bombshell that he was having the affair with my best friend. I couldn't fathom it. I found pictures of him in her house with his shirt off holding my baby daughter and his son with a big cheesy grin on his face. I was so mad.
I would love to see the baby on a regular basis.
If he wants to have visitation with her baby, I want it to be under my terms. I can't trust him being alone with her.
I'd love to be his full-time father.
Well, we're talking about an affair that has destroyed a friendship, has nearly ended, and maybe should, I don't know, not one, but 2 marriages. What's your husband think about this?
He's still home. He's still there, but he didn't want me to come here. He didn't want to be a part of this. He likes to ignore the problems and hope they go away.
But he knows that you're involved with Brad, right?
Yes.
I assume that's not okay with him.
No, he's on the verge of walking out, and I think after today he will.
He doesn't know y'all are still having sex, right?
No. They keep telling each other, they keep tell Michele and her husband that it's over, it's over.
And we've tried. We have. And
Yeah.
when we say it's over, it's been over. It may not last very long, but it's been. We have tried.
He won't leave her alone.
Now, your children,
Take care of your own business before you start throwing stones. You got problems in your own house, so.
Oh, I do?
She doesn't know what she's talking about.
well, let's talk about what we do know,
Okay,
okay? We do know you have children,
correct,
and we do know they know about this.
correct.
Okay, when you stack the priority list in your life, and you say, okay, my decisions, my choices, my actions are going to be driven by my priorities.
Right.
Where do the kids come?
I have stayed married, even though we've had problems and we tried to work through them and we didn't get the counseling we needed. But I wanted to stay for my children. That's why I thought I was staying. And I thought, as horrible as this sounds, I thought my extracurricular actions were aside. I thought I can keep the family together, I can raise my children, and I'm meeting some other needs over here.
Did you really think it wouldn't have an impact? Because if you said they're important, when you saw this, you would have stopped right then. You would have said, my children at the top of the list, this has now started encroaching on their peace in life. A soft, secure home, a soft, secure place to fall. Once you became aware that was the case, you would have stopped, right?
You would certainly think so.
but you didn't.
No, I did not.
So does that tell you that you are out of control, that you have no impulse control, and that you are delusional in your thinking? You're telling yourself things that just simply have no basis in fact.
And I've been through that, and I've tried to analyze this situation with her. You know, maybe it's not what I think it is. Maybe, you know, we're both delusional. You know, I've been through that for 2 years. But we haven't been able to get away from each other. Because, I would love nothing more than to be the perfect husband and father. And we've talked about with the other affairs, the list you keep bringing up. You know, I'm glad that came out, and we've talked about that. I'm glad that came out.
Well, you say the list I keep bringing up. You wrote the list
I agree.
and put it in your car.
Right. And that's what I was referring to, was the list.
You wanted her to find it, right?
I think subconsciously I did.
I would guess since you wrote it out and left it in the car,
Yeah.
you wanted her to find
Right.
it. I mean, I assume there's part of you that either thinks that this is going to wind up in a really bad place at some point if you don't stop it, or you are so gutless that you're trying to get her to make the decision. You said we're waiting for somebody to tell us what to do. Are you trying to make her so mad that she'll say, get out, so you can then be the victim and say, well, she threw me out, so I have permission to go do this? Think about that, really.
I will. But something that was not brought up is for the 8 or 9 years that I'm talking about that we had problems prior to this, I was the one that pushed for counseling, and she didn't want to go. I have really tried to get help for this marriage for a long time.
Okay, but you're not suggesting that therefore validates your decision to turn
Absolutely
outside
not.
the marriage with somebody
Absolutely
else.
not.
You're just
Absolutely
bringing that
not.
up for general conversation purposes then.
Right.
Because you're not saying that since she wouldn't talk, I go start having an affair with 19 other women.
Well, and that's why, but it's not right. I agree it's not right.
Did you lie to the therapist about whether you were still involved
Yes,
or not?
I did.
What's the point in going to therapy if you're not going to tell the truth?
I saw individual therapy at that point because we were in marriage counseling and I was still seeing her, so I wanted to go see an individual therapist so I could be completely honest at that point.
But you weren't completely honest with the therapist that was working to heal the marriage.
No.
That's not good.
No, it's not good. It's not good at all.
But I think you're worried about hurting her feelings.
I'm worried about hurting either of them.
He hasn't worried about hurting me for 2 years. I mean, he just continues to do it on and on and on.
Okay.
You haven't cared.
Brad is married to Michele, but has been having an affair with her ex-best friend. Now, to make matters even more complicated, both women had babies by him at the same time. They were just 24 days apart. Now, did you say either leave there or you're not going to be in the baby's life?
No, I never put it like that at
Is
all.
there anything that we have quoted you as saying that you're willing to own?
No, I've never given him an ultimatum. Leave her or not be in the baby's
Okay,
life.
put this in the frame that makes it in
I have
context.
said that if he and I are not going to be together and we're going to try to stay in our marriages, then I would like him to not have visitation with the baby.
Isn't what you just said exactly what I just said?
No, because I never gave him that ultimatum.
What do you want to say to her?
I never meant for this to happen. It wasn't what I intended. And I'm sorry that she's hurt.
I take that with a grain of salt because she's a liar and a manipulator just like he is. So I don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth.
But you intend to spend the rest of your life with her husband, correct?
If it works out that way, like I've said, I'm confused. I don't know. One day I think I want to be with him. The next day I don't.
You're not willing to withdraw from this relationship and leave her husband alone.
No, that's not true. If that's what he wants me to do, and that's what I think is best for myself and my family, then I am willing to do that.
Okay, well, then I'll play. Do you think that's best for your family and your marriage.
I think it's best for my children. I don't know that my husband and I can put things back together and heal.
Did you say, I wish she would leave so I could have him? I want Brad for myself.
I said that sometimes I wish she would leave for herself.
Oh, you just mean it for her.
Herself, and then, of course, sometimes I wish he would leave for me.
Because you know what? Listen, guys, you came here for some help, right? And I'm trying to get you two to at least own where you are. Just be honest. You want her husband. You've said it. I have you on tape saying it. You've said it 100 times. And you tell her last night the affair's not over. You get hysterically upset. You say, all right, I want separate rooms. And you promptly call her and meet her down on the street.
Right.
Come on. And then you say, well, you know, gee, actually, I think that I may need to consider the alternatives here. That's a load of crap. You got separate rooms so you could go meet her. I mean, just based on results, that's what happened. As soon as you got away from her, you went and rendezvoused with her.
Right.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.